Okay, folks, thank you so much for coming to today's webinar. I appreciate your time today. I know it's lunchtime. I hope you've got a cup of tea and, are just sort of able to relax, maybe a glass of water, cup of tea, coffee, a wee bun, whatever it happens to be to get us through this. But thank you so much. I want everybody on this webinar to come away thinking about how PR can help you achieve your goals. And I'm going to share with you some of my best advice and tips regarding PR and how you can use it to transform your business. PR is not complicated. It is really easy when you know how, and that is just what I'm here to share with you. So my goals for today is to demystify what PR actually is. And like I said, it's really easy when you know how to do it. It's not rocket science. And once you understand the basics, you can get started on that. Or maybe even if you're thinking of working with a freelancer or a PR agency, it'll give you sort of the understanding you need to ask them the questions that you need to ask. I hope you're going to come away with something that you can implement right now to enhance your business using PR. And I am going to introduce to you my latest PR training course, which covers everything you need to know about writing press releases and engaging with the media. Most importantly, I'm going to make time for your questions towards the end. And again, no question is off limits. It's the best way that I can share my I say 20 plus years, 25 plus years of PR experience with you. So ask away. I'm going to break down this presentation into 3 parts. So the first part is looking at why PR fails. So I've got 5 main reasons as to why that happens. I'm then going to show you what you can do better by looking at what 3 things are generally missing. And finally, I'm going to cover 3 things you need to do right now to do PR well and to use it to transform your reputation and your business profile. But before we move on, I obviously know some of you on the call. We're connected up on LinkedIn. I do know some of you, which is brilliant. I am so grateful that you're here. But before we go on, could you just tell me what it is you do? Is there something in particular that you want to know about PR? And that's going to help me make this, what I want to say today, relevant to you. So you drop it into the chat if you can. I would just really love to hear that. I'll give you a second to type there, but yeah, what is it you do? Is there something particularly you'd like to know about PR? So we've got a virtual assistant. You're so welcome. Kathy Brennan wants to promote a new podcast. Kathy, you need to link up with Ellen Finley, who's on the call. Rachel Cox. Oh, counselling in the field with horses rather than therapy room. Yeah, it's really hard, Rachel. Yes, to just sort of expand your sphere of influence and get people to understand what it is you do. Yeah, L&D, good to raise your team's profile and the organisation we're in. Laura, I can certainly help you with that. Hope you're doing well. Biotech, oh, that's brilliant. Would love to learn more about that. Disseminating our work. Yeah, another podcaster there. Brilliant. How to promote that. Oh, wow. Delivering CPR and IED training in the community, a really important one. So definitely there's stories we can tell surrounding to that, the impact that you're making on people's lives. So that's brilliant. Marketing, yeah. What types of articles might be accepted by the press? Absolutely. And again, I'll cover a bit about press releases later and about what makes them really work. Got DEI and consulting there, brilliant. Founding a new business, great to have you on board. Tell you a bit more about PR Club in a minute, but I am new to this as well. Digital agency, yes. What is PR worthy for business to share? I guarantee you'll have a lot that is PR worthy. I know that for a fact. And we have a recruiter. So that's brilliant. Keep that chat coming. And you might want to consider as well dropping in your LinkedIn connections and maybe starting to connect with each other if there's anybody there that you think you could potentially collaborate with. I do love connecting people. That is my other special skill. Thank you for that. Right, who am I? Why should you be interested in what I have to say? Well, I am Sarah McCracken. I'm so, again, really pleased that you're able to join me today. I am an award-winning PR and communication specialist, and I have worked for large and small organisations in many different areas over the past 25 years. I'm really proud to be a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations, as well as hold chartered status. And those are our qualifications that kind of enhance the chartership looked at leadership, ethics, and credibility in and around that. So I'm really, really pleased to be holding that, and I hope those attest to my credentials in terms of my experience. I also have an MBA. And again, that was about expanding my knowledge into the business sphere. So it's more than just PR that I can offer. I've worked in health, education, equestrian and agri-rural businesses. I used to work on an alpaca farm. That's a whole other webinar. I think folks we can chat about that. I worked with the groundbreaking entrepreneur behind the Cantech body protector for female equestrians. And I've worked for a political party. I worked for the Greens back in 2016 in the run up to their elections. And through a strategic PR approach, I increased their vote share, I increased their profile, and we ended up with 2 MLAs being elected. Again, just as part of that, and I mean, I see it as day-to-day work, but I've generated front page stories, features, won awards, prep CEOs to appear in front of Westminster and Stormont committees. That's really good fun, by the way. Prep business leaders to be in media interviews. And again, just taking that strategic planned approach that's really focused on understanding the target audience and having clear messaging. So, like I said, ask me anything. I am on a mission now to make PR easy for you to achieve success and transform your business using PR power. I do have a day job. I work for an ENGO, but I do this in my own time. And again, it's just a way of offering PR training, which I really think there's a need for, to business leaders, to entrepreneurs like yourselves, so that you can transform your businesses. So why does PR fail? Well, I've got five reasons for you. I mean, these reasons apply to small business owners, entrepreneurs, and large businesses alike. I mean, I don't want you sat there thinking that large organizations have it sussed. I can assure you that they don't. But the advantage that you as an entrepreneur or a smaller business or organization have is that you can act really quickly to counter some of these failings. The first reason is that business leaders and owners don't understand the benefits that PR done well can achieve. And we'll come on to this in a minute, but PR is not marketing or advertising. It's a very particular approach about reputation and relationships that done well can result in huge benefits for your business. So reason 2 is that the organisations don't plan their PR. You've all heard the saying that fail to plan is to plan to fail, and PR is no different to that. If you come away with one thing today, it's that you need a PR plan, and that is something I can help you with. And I have worked in the past with one of the people on this call today, and I'm quite sure they would assure you that I do love a plan. So reason number 3 links to that. Because there is no plan, everyone jumps to needing to write a press release, usually badly if you don't know how, but I'm going to come on to that. Or you're asked just to do some social media. And it's a real scattergun approach that ultimately it's a real waste of your time, effort, and money. Reason number 4 is that your PR will fail if you don't know who you're trying to talk to. You could be wanting to speak to an internal audience rather than an external one, for example, or your customers, maybe another key stakeholder who can help you with your business. So again, if you don't start to focus in on that, if you don't start to really understand who you're trying to talk to, you're going to waste a bit more time and effort. So reason number 5 is you don't know what you want to say. And this is called your messaging. So your audience, that could be your customers, your staff, bankers, investors, whoever it happens to be, your listeners, they get really confused on what you're trying to say, and your efforts become more of that, that noise that we're all bombarded with every day. Again, waste of time, effort, and money. I'm going to say that a lot today, by the way. It's a waste of time, effort, and money if you don't spend time getting some focus on your key messages. So what is PR anyway? Well, it's public relations. And, you do get, well, I mean, everybody knows it's just about getting yourself in the media. Well, PR is so much more than that. But first of all, just a quick look at marketing and advertising. So marketing is activities a business undertakes to promote the buying and selling of a product or service. It's focused on driving sales. And I know there's marketers on this call, and you are doing a brilliant job. Advertising is bringing attention to products and services. It can be quite a mass market approach. You've seen adverts in the papers, the billboards. You can start to tailor it a bit more on social media, but it's still quite a mass market approach. And PR is about cultivating relationships organically. To give you a definition, public relations is about reputation. It's the result of what you say and what others say about you. Now, the objectives, goals and tactics used by PR and marketers, they overlap, they're closely related. So again, if you're working with a marketing consultant as well as a PR consulting, or maybe someone who can do both, those approaches need to complement each other. PR is a really essential part of your business approach because it can help build trust, credibility, and a positive image for your brand. And ultimately, this will influence consumer perceptions and purchasing decisions. And when I say consumer, it could be your service user, it could be a listener, a key stakeholder. So, I mean, imagine a potential customer searches for your business or product online and they come across some really good media articles featuring you, or maybe details of you speaking at an event. That is going to create a more credible perception of you in the mind of your customer. And, again, think of all those public facing opportunities that PR can create and how those credibility markers will all add up in your favor and the favor of your business. And then your customers, they're going to be talking about you when you aren't in the room. And why is it so urgent to be focusing on your PR right now? Well, I mean, it all comes down to your reputation, particularly as a small business owner and an entrepreneur. If you don't have a good reputation, your business is going to suffer. If you don't have a good profile and nobody knows about you, your business is going to suffer. It's not going to take off the way it should. And since PR is about your reputation and listening to stakeholders and building relationships, I obviously would argue that you need to make an investment in your PR. So have we got any questions so far? Are you still with me? I'm going to take you through next 3 things that will transform your business in relation to PR, but let me just check the chat. Oh, lots of connection requests for LinkedIn there. That is brilliant to see. Awesome. We're going to have a really good network at the end of this. Brilliant. Okay, so I get mine up there later. Seth, what is PR in people? I don't quite understand your question. Perhaps you could elaborate a little bit more. Give a wee second see if anyone comes back into the chat, and we'll come back to that, Seth, maybe in the Q&A later on. Okay. 3 things that will transform your business. Number 1, becoming known. How will you tell your story and position your business? Number 2, it's about building relationships. It's about spending time identifying your audience and building trust. And number 3, it's building your credibility. It's about having your customers hear you on the TV and the radio, or read about you in the media or on the next podcast. It's about you and not your rival. So I'll go through these things one by one. So number 1 is, do your customers know who you are? How well known are you, and how well known is your business? And we need to break out of the social media bubbles that we're in, and we think everybody knows about us, but in reality they don't. And I have experienced this working for a large UK-wide organisation as well. People, we sometimes assume that everybody's heard of the organisation, but actually when you start talking to people, they've maybe heard about it, they don't quite know what it does. So again, don't think large organizations have this sussed. Using PR will enable you to position your products and services as the go-to. And again, by telling your story in your own terms, you're going to become better known. And it can be really daunting. I mean, I know that, but take a moment to think, how might you do that? How might you become known? It could be as simple as some LinkedIn or Instagram posts, or maybe going to a local networking group, or perhaps an online networking engagement. It's by taking those small steps to get the confidence to keep moving forward. Is there an event you could speak at? Have you an elevator pitch written? Practice saying it, and are you ready to go with that? I mean, I've had to do it for myself, as well as the CEOs and senior leaders in organizations I have worked for. So that's how I know that I can help you. I mean, I stood in front of a room of my friends and colleagues up in the Long Gallery at Stormont talking about women in PR, which is a group that I co-founded to develop leadership in the sector. I mean, I never expected to be doing that. Really daunting, but again, it's part of becoming known. It's a part of helping women in PR to become known. And again, it's about taking that active approach on LinkedIn to engage, inspire, connect. You know, the majority of us today have come together through LinkedIn connections, I would suggest. And again, Instagram plays a key role in storytelling as well. And I know social media can be a bit daunting for some people, but you need to think about, how will this benefit my business and the services? How will people get to hear about the difference that I can make for them? So the second thing is about knowing who your audience is and building trust and a relationship with them. So who is it that needs your product or service? Who do you want to do business with? Who do you want to influence if you're running a campaign, for example? And again, this is my Where's Wally slide. Your audience is not the whole world. Your audience is not the general public. So you need to know who your potential customers are and then understand how to reach them. So if you know the types of news outlets they follow, you need to build relationships with the relevant journalists there to have a better chance of your content landing with them. Again, that's something I've had to do many, many times over the years. I mean, when I worked for the Green Party up at Stormont in Northern Ireland, we identified who our voters were likely to be and we focused on them. We didn't waste time worrying about the opposition. And again, we just built trust with our supporters through, you know, face-to-face events, news articles, social media, direct emails. And again, this photograph here is from a photo shoot for a children's storytelling trail. Photographs were designed to appeal to families as well as showcase that there was a nature element to the event. Again, a bit of thought and planning went into that with the target audience in mind to build a relationship with them. So thing number 3 is, have you ever read or listened to a competitor in the media or at an art event or at an event, sorry, and thought I could do that? I know I have. And again, imagine if your customers heard you on the TV or read about you in a newspaper rather than a rival. Do you know, a well-planned and managed PR approach will help you achieve this, and PR done well will help you tell your story, become known as the expert in your area of expertise, and position your business as the go-to for customers, you know, event organizers, journalists, podcasters alike. And, you know, again, some of the things I have done to build credibility, you know, pitching to go on to a podcast. I was on a podcast this week, actually, Rural Business Focus. I'll happily share the link with that. And again, I'm happy to share with you the pitch that I wrote to send to the podcaster to get success. Looking at blogs and news outlets, again, those have all been used in the past to position, you know, the leaders of the organizations I have worked for as the experts in what they do. There's plenty to think about there. And again, the benefits of this transformation, you know, I am sure you can agree with this list, and you've probably more that you can add. If you do, drop them in the chat and I will include them in my next presentation. But, you know, word of mouth is so important. People share about their positive experience. They share about their negative experience as well. Customer loyalty. Do you know, when customers trust a business and find it credible, they start to believe in its products or services, and that, you know, then helps the company to meet their needs consistently. More sales, that's what we all want at the end of the day. You know, when customers trust a business, they feel more comfortable making a purchase, leading to higher conversion rates and revenue. And that obviously links to competitive advantage. You know, they're going to choose you over a different business if they have read about you, seen you, heard you speak. For those working for organisations or with staff, good employee morale is really important. You want to retain your staff. So again, when employees trust your company and its leadership, they're going to feel more engaged, motivated and satisfied. You might be looking for investors. You obviously want to build some trust and relationships with potential investors. Brand reputation is really, really important as well. And that's, you know, about building a positive image in the minds of your customers. And again, you know, have you considered what the benefits would be of you becoming better known, building relationships and building credibility, and how that links to your business? I'm going to take you through 3 areas that I find that businesses and organizations struggle with and miss out when it comes to their PR. And again, if there's something else relating to what you're struggling with, again, we can cover that later in the Q&A. But it broadly comes down to needing to plan, knowing who your audience is, and obviously improving your profile. Those 3 things tend to be missing. And again, of the majority of people, hundreds of people that I've spoken to about PR, they simply don't know where to start. And that's okay. You know, if you're not a PR expert, that's perfectly understandable. I am not an expert in recruitment or VA or you know, some of the other skills that are on the call. So I turn to other experts for help. You can't be expected to know everything when it comes to running your business. And again, that's where I come in and why I'm here to share my knowledge with you. But what I will say is that you need a PR plan aligned to your business goals. And once you have that plan, then your actions will flow from that. So what can communications do for your business? You will need some basic planning, maybe using a pastel or a SWOT analysis. And again, addressing within that what can be addressed by good communications, and just build out from there. This is something that I have done successfully and repeatedly. Do you know, when I started working for an education body, it took its profile from a 0 to 100, 100% within several months, you know, through communications planning, looked at media briefings, interviews, meeting with key stakeholders, roadshows. We had a really excellent researcher on board as well, who was able to provide really good sound-based evidence to inform those conversations as well. So our target audience really knew who we were after 3 months. And again, if you don't have a plan, well, your PR efforts are just going to fail. You're going to miss opportunities. And if I could bust one myth right now, is that PR is free advertising. It's not. The cost is your time and effort, and that equates to money you could have spent on getting some PR training or help and advice. And again, a scattergun approach, you know, it might yield some results, but imagine if you could be really strategic and land those opportunities regularly. PR is all about enhancing your reputation. So done badly, your reputation is going to be impacted. Maybe not necessarily negatively, just nobody's going to know who you are. And that leads me into the second thing that's missing, which is knowing who you want to communicate with. Like I've already said, it's not the whole world. It's not the general public. And again, if you take one thing away today, I hope you're going to take lots of things away. It's that this is really, really important to note. Your audience is specific people who are interested in your product, your service, your campaign, your expertise, whatever it is that you want to communicate about. And you need to know who they are and how to reach them. So you do need to spend some time mapping out your audience and prioritizing and focusing on them. And then you can start to understand how to reach them. This is a power influence matrix, and it's a really easy way to start to think about your audience. I'm sure many of you on the call have seen this, but you know, again, I love a good workshop. Remember back in the day with post-it notes, you know, start making a list or grab a load of post-it notes and write out everybody you deal with, try and use their names. And again, start to map them out on this type of grid and start to group them. And that will see then where you should really start to focus your communications efforts. I've done this really successfully at a local charity. You know, I facilitated a stakeholder workshop with the leadership team, and we had like hundreds and hundreds of names. But when we actually sat down and analysed it, we were able to focus on our top 5 stakeholders. The rest fell into other projects and had other colleagues to manage those relationships. So again, it brought that real clarity and focus to what we needed to do. Now, people will move between the grids depending on the issue, so you need to update this regularly and maybe do it for, you know, for separate projects that you then start to run. And again, what happens if you don't identify your audience? You know, you're going to waste your time, effort, and money. Your competitors will be the ones that your customers and clients hear about, because you're taking that scattergun approach and nothing is really working. And you know, think of all those opportunities that you will have missed. I mean, there's no point in running a Facebook campaign, for example, if your audience is all on TikTok. There's no point in firing out a press release to the newspapers if your customers listen to the radio or podcasts instead. So again, it's really understanding who you're trying to talk to and then how to reach them. The third thing that business owners and leaders like yourself struggle with is how to build their profile to gain credibility in the area that they are working on. So, I mean, do you have a profile? Are you about to start? Do you want to enhance it? So you need to spend some time asking yourself what you want to become known for. And then that links to your credibility within that area. It's about bringing to life what you're trying to say, and this is about sharing an emotional connection with your audience. That's your storytelling, you know, something that's going to evoke a response and make them go, wow, that's brilliant, or yes, this is the person I want to work with, or isn't that a really brilliant business, I'm going to go and learn more about that. So as you progress with your planned PR and raising your profile, you're going to start to build that connection with your audience, and they're going to start to know, like, and trust you. Again, some ideas to build your profile. I'm quite sure you can start making a list. Drop them in the chat if you have any other ideas. But you know, you can host and speak at events, host your own events, pitch to speak at other events. You can enter awards. Plenty of awards about. You might want to look at ones that are relevant to your industry. Use the really credible ones. Again, pitch to speak in podcasts. I'll happily share with you the pitches that I have used in the past. And pitch to speak at conferences. It's really, really daunting, but it's really easy when you know how to do it. I know these are some of the things that I have done and things that I have done for other people. So, I mean, I know how hard it can be to get started, and to have that confidence to make the call or send the pitch, but that means I can help you because I understand how difficult it is. And again, what happens if you don't have a profile? Again, you're going to notice the theme here. You're going to waste time, effort, and money if you don't tell your story well. Think of the effort that you would need to put into writing a press release, and the cost in terms of your time if it gets ignored because nobody really knows who you are if it's not written well, for example. You might have a really exciting to you but dull to everybody else report or product or service that you want to talk about. I'm saying it's probably a really important service that you're offering, but unless you can bring that to life and show how it relates to your customers, then nobody's going to care enough to read about it. And again, your customers will be out there doing things well, and you're going to miss out. So to sum it up, what I have taken you through to do PR well and to use it to transform your reputation and your business profile is get a plan, understand who it is and know who you want to talk to, and then raise your profile, get a better positive profile. So I am going to focus the final part of this presentation on profile raising in the media. This is something that I am asked about a lot, but I just would love to know if you could drop it in the chat. Why do you want to raise your profile, or why would you want to be in the media? What would that mean for you and your business and your service? Or maybe if you're in an internal team, it's why do you want to raise the profile of your internal team as well? Again, no wrong answers here, but yeah, let me know what you think before I reveal what I have heard before. So yeah. I want people to know how I exist, so people who need me can come and find me. Brilliant, love it. Want to influence decision makers. I love that. I do love a good public affairs campaign, and I'm happy to chat about that another time as well. Gain credibility, a really, really important one. Can PR be done on individuals? If so, how much being? So from that, I am going to take, can you PR yourself? You absolutely can. Maybe we need an actual conversation about this for that query there. Tell my story, raise awareness of the need for my training, 100%. Reputation building and credibility, get funding for my research and readers from my books. Oh, books, yes. Need to write a book as well at some point. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. These are some of the things that I've been told about before, but yeah, it's what we've talked about. Brand awareness, credibility, know, like, trust factor. Sharing positive news is really important. We also need to respond to negative situations in time as well. Again, that's an incident management crisis response approach. Again, slightly different to what we're talking about today, but a really good comms lead will help you with that. So brilliant, thank you for sharing that. Oh, this is a quote from Richard. Now, Richard Branson, he's done quite well for himself, so I like this quote for him. But yeah, a good PR story is definitely more effective than a front page ad. And again, that's about earned media, organic, building your credibility. Obviously, it's about having a front page positive story. Again, we can talk about the negative stuff another time, that's no problem. So getting in the media, I find I mean, for me, it's one of the easiest things to do, but others that I have worked with find it really difficult for a variety of reasons. Press releases. I'm going to talk about these for a wee bit now. I have to say press releases are the bane of my life. From working with a range of businesses and business owners, as well as talking to journalists, I find that clients don't understand what a press release is actually for. There is a real knack to writing them so that a journalist will open it, never mind read it, never mind consider it to be a story. I mean, your first goal is to get them to actually open the email. So what I want you to know is that a press release is about news. So no news is no press release. There's other stuff you can do with your content, but if it's not newsworthy, it's not going to land very well with the journalists. And when you're writing them, you need to be really concise and to the point. You also need to target the correct journalist. You know, if it's a business story, you need to find the business journalists. An environment story, look for the environment correspondents. A lot of journalists are generalists, but only by reading their work or listening to them on the radio or seeing them, what they're reporting on, will you understand what they're interested in. And that applies to podcasts as well. There's a lot of very niche podcasts. There's no point in pitching to the wrong one if they don't cover what it is that you're going to talk about. As always, there are consequences if you don't do press releases well. Again, if you send stuff out randomly, it's like sticking spaghetti to the wall, but overall, it's going to be a waste of your time and effort. If you don't do it well, your customers and clients are never going to hear about you because what you send out will be ignored by the journalists. And again, this is where I can help you. Do you know, I'm on a mission to make PR easy for everyone, including you. And I've spent years writing press releases that get read and published. And again, like I said, I'm here to share everything I've learned about that. So you can position yourself as an authority in what you do and position your business in front of the right audience. It is really easy when you know how, but don't take my word for it. I have some testimonials on my LinkedIn profile. I have worked with a range of different organizations and people at different stages of knowledge. And I'm just really delighted to be receiving feedback like this. And this is from one of my press release training courses that I've run over the past year. So I do want to take a wee moment now to tell you about the training course that I am running in April, and then we'll come on to a Q&A session. So press release course is called How to Write a Press Release and Engage with the Media. I am very practical and this course will do exactly that. Honestly, I don't have time to think of fancy titles for things. And this course is for you if you maybe don't know where to start writing a press release, or maybe you've tried and you just need to refresh your approach. Believe it or not, I have delivered this training to PR and communications professionals, to in-house teams, to PR agencies. So either way, by the end of this course, you will have the skills and knowledge that you need to write a press release and know how to engage with the media. So that's whether you're a small business, entrepreneur, large business, charity. I guarantee this course is going to help you. What I will cover includes why you should be in the media, what makes a good story, writing your press release and getting it out there. It will have a very practical workshop included. I will help you write your press release. And again, we'll just be talking all things news. You will come away with a structure that you can follow and an understanding of how best to get that issued to the media. And again, this is an online press release training course that I have available. Again, really positive feedback about it, and the techniques that are in that I will take you through in detail. So just to give you the details about it, it's a half-day training course taking place on the 12th of April. It'll be run in the morning online via Zoom. And again, like I said, I have delivered this training before and I know it gives you the skills that you need. I've delivered it to those starting out, as well as those who have experience of press releases. I mean, this feedback that I'm sharing with you here, that came from a PR agency team. I did some bespoke training with them. The investment in the training for a half day is £349, and I will find you the link if you would like to read a bit more about that. If you need any more convincing of the need to invest in PR for your business when the time is right, I'll let Bill Gates tell you about this. Again, he's been quite successful as well. So again, I have a few bonuses available as part of this course. As well as me delivering the course and taking you through how to write a really awesome press release, we're going to be joined on the day by an experienced journalist. So for those in Northern Ireland, that's Nigel Gould. He's head of news and sport at Bauer Media here in Northern Ireland. That's our largest commercial radio station. He has a background in weekly newspapers, daily newspapers. He's worked out with the media industry as well. He's now in a commercial radio station. For people out with Northern Ireland, Bauer Media works right, I mean, it's German owned, it works right across the UK, it owns magazines, radio stations. I guarantee you will have listened to or read some of their content. I'd be really pleased to review a press release for you after the training. I do offer some bespoke one-to-one training, so I'll happily package that up as part of this. I mean, I want to make sure that your press release is as good as it's going to be and just give you that confidence to do it. So it's not just a case of, here's a course, away you go now. Please, I would want to keep in touch with you and help you with your next press release. I do have a workbook that would contain all the information you would need to refer back to in the future as well. It is really easy to book onto this. You can scan that QR code. I will pop the link into the chat in a second. That will take you to a sign up page, and once you've registered, all the information, Zoom link, etc., will be on its way to you. But again, happy to answer any questions about that in particular. So leave that with you for a wee second. I needed to get a drink of tea. Q&A, what time are we at? I have plenty of time now if you have any PR questions. Again, this has been recorded, so if you don't feel comfortable unmuting and coming on camera, that's fine. If you drop them in the chat, I will answer them, or feel free to speak up or pop your hand up. So I will stop sharing for a moment so I can maybe see the chat a bit better, and I will find you the booking link for this. So any questions? Oh, let me see in the chat here. What about profile? Oh, proudest PR moment. Oh my goodness, so many. Where do we start? I have to say, winning the CIPR awards. We won 2 CIPR awards for the NGO that I work for a couple of years ago for our Revive Our World campaign that resulted in legislation being passed in the Northern Ireland Assembly for climate change. So PR can be really powerful as part of a campaigning space, and it can really affect systemic change and you really impact on people's lives. So that was one good one. Other proud moments are seeing people that I have briefed in their interviews, or reading what they have said in media articles. I just love that. I've prepped people to go on to really, really difficult radio shows. And again, we've come away from that as a team with no adverse incidents, no adverse publicity, which was the goal, but also facing Westminster committees. You don't know what questions is going to be asked, but as a PR professional, you need to be able to preempt all of that. Ask the difficult questions, prep your leaders before you actually get into that situation. So I love doing that. Let me expand this chat. It's a great question, thank you. What would be an average daily cost to partner with PR agency in Belfast? That will depend on the agency. And again, it'll depend on the size of the agency. It'll depend on the size of your budget. You could be looking at anywhere from £350 to £500 per day, possibly more. Again, you would need to check with the agency, maybe in and around £75 an hour if it was for a very small project. But again, yeah, you would need to get your brief together really concisely and succinctly, and then send out a tender and see what they come back with. But make sure your tender is really concise and specific and to the point, so you get what you need out of it. What would you say is newsworthy in the professional services space, lawyers, accountants, financial planners, etc.? That's a really interesting question. So there's thinking about finance, there's a lot of commentary at the minute about cost of living and people struggling. So there's an opportunity there to tell your story about how you can help, or be positioned as an expert in maybe advising people on how to save money or how to plan for the future. There's lots of creative ways that you can think about jumping onto that news agenda, if that makes sense. Again, who have you helped? What have you secured? How have you changed people's lives? Because if you're a lawyer representing somebody on a case, or maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's connected with an industrial tribunal or something like that, and it's a positive outcome for your client. You've changed their world. You've helped them out with something. So there's stories in and around that, notwithstanding client confidentiality. So yeah, plenty you could talk about in and around that. Or even why did you start? Did you quit a high profile corporate image to set up a consultancy based on something else, so you can have a better impact? The best way to disseminate press releases, since journalist inboxes can be filled. Yes, they can. I would recommend that you learn who the best journalists are that you can target and build a relationship with them. So find them on LinkedIn, find them on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it now. Really build a relationship with them. If you can get out to meet the media events, go and do that. You might want to phone them up and ask them, do you know, could you meet them for a conversation? You want to brief them about a pending event, something like that. That might work. But again, when it comes to writing your press release, which is something that I cover in the course, it's about your headline. So what is the impact? What is the who, where, why, when, how, about what it is that you're talking about? So get that in the first line, make it really eye-catching. It could be, I don't know, investment of 3 million, creating 300,000 jobs in an area. That's going to catch their attention. And then the next step then is to get them to open the email. But think about your headline first if you're going to email them out. But yeah, build a connection with them, get to know the journalists that you can work with. There's some really good Facebook groups as well that ask for stories, more tabloidy, I have to say, but there's other ways to get to know journalists as well. Recently, many organisations using emotion and videos to connect with the audience. Do you think it's the future of PR? It's about building relationships, public relations. So yes, there is definitely a role for that. Again, people can hear your voice. They can understand a bit more about you, what you're there. You can project a bit more warmth than the spoken word. So yeah, absolutely, videos. And if you're a bit worried about videos, maybe start with a few Instagram stories, because they only last for like less than a minute. So once you get confident speaking in those, and like 3 people in the dog have seen it, then you can start to develop that into more of a public sphere as well. Is it better to aim for local media or national media, and is it a different approach? That is going to depend where your audience, who's your target audience, and where are you going to find them. So if you have a service-based business that impacts in the surrounding 20 miles of where you live, that is going to be a very different approach in terms of the outlets that you will be targeting. If you have a business or service that can be delivered worldwide online, again, a very different approach in terms of the outlets that you would target. But it's going to come down to who's your target audience and what are they listening to or reading that you need to be in, so they will read and listen about you. The actual approach per se is the same. Build a relationship with the journalist or the podcaster or whoever it happens to be, and put your content in front of them. But start with who your audience is and where will you find them, and then that will start then to build out from there. Brilliant question. I was really struck when you talked about breaking out of social media. Can you expand a bit more on that? And when is the best time to do a press release if you're just starting out in your business? So in terms of the social media, yeah, it's about breaking out of your social media bubble. You know what it's like? You're busy tweeting away, or you're on Instagram, and you know your follower numbers aren't going up. You know, the same people are reading your content day in, day out. Now, if they're really good, active, engaged followers, that is good. But if you want to start to branch out and expand your profile, you might want to take about using LinkedIn to build your connections in different areas, and you can start to do searches and things for that as well. But just don't assume that everybody knows what you're doing, even within your current level of followers. You know, it's like you're sat on the phone and you're scrolling away. You're not really paying attention a lot of the time. So again, it's back to your content and your headline. How are you going to get people to stop and really read about you? That could be a video, like we've already talked about. Best time to do a press release is right now. Of course, I'm going to say that. You can't do it too early in terms of the start of your business. You could be announcing your launch. You could be announcing the first big thing that you have done. Particularly, I know you have a podcast, so you might want to announce that podcast. Again, who's your target audience? Where are you going to find them? And we'll create some content around that. I'd be happy to help you do that. So send it out. In terms of the actual time of day, if you're looking at a weekly newspaper, they print on a Thursday. Don't contact them on Wednesday. Send it for Monday or Tuesday at the very, very latest. Daily paper, again, news conferences first thing in the morning. you don't want to send it at 10 o'clock at night. You want to send it as early as you can in the day for the next day, because it'll not get on in that paper on the day. And again, radio, think about their rolling news bulletins. But again, try and send it out, say, Monday, embargoed for Tuesday, or Thursday, embargoed for Friday, or even send out on Friday for Monday is a really good actual time to do it as well. So 2 ways of looking at that. So that's us, folks. Have we any more questions? Leave it for a second. Can I just say thank you so much again for your time today. Let me just share my screen once more. Too many screens up. So I will leave you with this, folks. I am happy to stay on for another while. I'll stop the recording in a wee second and happily have a chat if you want to come off camera, and we can talk about all things PR. But yeah, I mean, again, I am genuinely here to share my PR knowledge with you. No question is off limits. Please connect up with me on LinkedIn if we're not already connected. And yeah, I will be happy to answer your questions. So I will stop the recording.